Hiya, my name's Natalie, welcome to my channel, Ramblings of a Riding Instructor. This is our first video in our Tackroom Training Talks series, and today I want to talk to you about seeking the contact. So first of all, what does seeking the contact mean? Well, to me, seeking the contact means that if the rider is doing all the right things, the horse will start to lengthen through the top line of his body and reach out towards the bit, creating a steady contact. I think we hear a lot of the time the phrase on the bit, and I really avoid using this as an instructor because I feel like it's become very misconstrued over the years, and I feel like on the bit makes you feel like you should be doing something to make that happen, when really if you turn that around and talk about the horse seeking the contact, that changes your job into giving the right cues, being there in the right way for the horse to go ahead and seek the contact. So it's less about you making something happen, and it's more about you getting the right environment in your riding position, in the horse's mental state, physical state, to allow him to go ahead and seek the contact. Because horses are inter-pressure animals, this is our key path to getting them to seek the contact, to seek out that little bit of pressure that's going to happen with the correct contact. In all other ways of riding, being around horses, training them, on the ground with them, to a degree we've flipped that around and we want them to move away from pressure. And when we ask them to seek the contact, we would like them to go out towards that and find that little bit of comfortable pressure down the rein and find it at the end of the rein on the bit. Now, the horse will only be able and willing to seek the contact if it's comfortable when they get there. So the rider has to be well in their position, an elastic contact, which of course comes from your elbow, so that when the horse does seek the contact and gets to that point, it's a comfortable place, it's a happy place, and it's somewhere that they want to be more often than not be. So it has to be made nice for them. Seeking the contact in its basic form is asking the horse to follow the hand. So those two are one and the same. At the very beginning, at the basics, what you'd like your horse to do is, from your rein holding, if you put your hands forward and lightened the pressure that you were holding on the bit, you would like him to lengthen his neck and his top line out, essentially seeking the same level of pressure that he had when your hands were up into their normal position. Now, as he seeks that contact forward, what you don't want to happen is that he tips forward and that he loses his balance and ends up on the forehand. So you would like him to stay balanced over the forelegs, but as you allow your hands forward and the rein lightens, he would want to be stretching the neck, stretching his top line forward to seek that pressure. Using seeking the contact reflexes to make a turn will involve your inside hand staying predominantly still and your outside hand just allowing forward. What you want the horse to do here and what he will feel is, because your bit is operated with two reins, it may or may not have a joint, it may have two joints, it doesn't matter, because the lightening of the pressure on, let's say, your outside rein as you want him to turn the corner will happen in any type of bit. What happens is the pressure on the inside rein stays the same and the outside rein gets lighter because you've pushed it forward, and you would like his response to be that he starts to turn the nose, turn the body, and starts to make that turn because you have lightened the outside hand, and he would then think, okay, there's the same pressure on one side of my mouth, which is consistent. The other side has lightened. How can I get that back to being the same pressure it was before my rider put their outside hand forward? So that starts the turn, that incites the turn for your horse. And what happens through his body when your inside hand stays still for the turn and your outside hand pushes forward is that you get a really nice lengthening on the outside edge of his body, and he should start to curve around your inside leg, but by lengthening and travelling forward instead of the other really common way of turning that I see, which is to pull back on the inside rein. What happens when you pull back on the inside rein is, first of all, any backward action down the bit is going to stop forward movement to a degree. When you bring your inside hand back to turn the nose, then what happens is you're blocking the horse's inside hind leg from stepping through on the turn and pushing off to make that turn and find the bend in the body. So while your inside hand is back, know that you are blocking forward and blocking the length of stride on the inside hind leg. So outside hand going forward doesn't have any impact on the inside hind leg or him being allowed to go forward, and it just encourages him to start lengthening the outside of the body and making the turn around your inside leg and his inside hind leg. That to say, when you're using your outside rein in a slight forward action to allow the horse the bend, the turning, the use of the inside hind leg, you're not hanging your hand forward and letting your outside rein go baggy. That would instead allow him to fall out through the outside shoulder perhaps, particularly if you're still inadvertently using your inside rein to come back and make the turn. So while you're giving your outside hand forward slightly, it's just enough to make the turn. You still need to be supporting his shoulder on the outside, and your outside leg is ready to help keep him on that turn line. Seeking the contact can be taught at any point along your horse's ridden career. Now, many horses have not been taught this in the beginning. You might buy a horse that's a bit older, you may have started one but not known about this way of teaching them to seek the contact. That's fine, it doesn't matter. You can start where you are and just start to teach them about how to go ahead and find the contact when the rein lightens in any which way. So both reins forward, one rein forward, it doesn't matter. This can always be taught. Horses that have not been taught to seek the contact won't know how to respond correctly when the rider puts both their hands forward, one hand forward to get a turn, and it's little, yeah. It doesn't have to be a massive amount of forward space. You don't want to lose the contact. It's just enough to allow them to turn. It needs to be enough to just get them to test the response to you putting your hands forward. And if you're riding a horse, let's say you're a rider that rides at, a novice, intermediate, advanced level, whichever it is. Let's say you ride a horse that isn't trained to seek the contact or sucks back a little bit away from the contact, or you're on a really wonderful saint of a riding school horse that just isn't going to understand this, and potentially when you then offer your outside hand forward to make a turn, they may just fall out because they're not used to having one rein being slightly lightened over the other. What we would teach in that instance is a version of this, but we would use an open inside rein to create that turn. So we're still not coming back on the inside rein, we're opening the inside rein to get the pony's nose to turn. And then we can either keep that outside rein fairly steady, applying outside leg, or we can start to still teach the same reflexes to the rider and the horse, no matter the circumstance, in just a slightly different way. So opening your inside rein and putting your outside rein forward, as long as your outside leg is there to keep your horse on the turn, and your outside hand is not too far forward to allow them to fall out. This is one of the best ways to teach it, because what we want to teach in those circumstances and those situations is just don't pull back on your inside rein. It makes the horse's life really hard. They can't get their inside hind leg up and forward and under, and what you'll find is they will slow down on the turn, because if you bring your hand back at any point, you've effectively put your brakes on. So any backward traction down the rein puts brakes on. So when you're riding, training, dealing with a horse that doesn't understand that an outside hand going forward means that you would like them to make a turn around your inside rein, inside leg, their inside hind leg, we just don't want to be pulling back on the inside rein. And just teaching them a little bit about the outside rein and seeking the contact if they're capable and if the situation allows it. If you'd like to give this a go with your horse, so you might be looking to see whether he's been taught to seek the contact in the past, or if you're at the point where you would like to teach him to do so, the best way to start is start at halt. You're going to spend a lot of time at halt just teaching him that when you lighten the contact forward, he should start to give you the neck lengthening that you're looking for. If you're lightening your right rein forward, he should start to turn the nose to the left. If you're lightening your left hand forward or your left rein forward, he should start to make that turn with the nose to the right. All of this ideally is done at the halt, and then you work your way up. Can you then do it at the walk? Can you eventually do it at the trot, and then all the way up to canter? But it's a really fun thing to do. It makes their ridden life and your ridden life much more fun, much more easy. Your communication will be better with your horse, so they're going to enjoy it more, you're going to enjoy it more. So give it a go with your horse. If you have any questions or you need any help or any further explanations, get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. We're happy to help. And we'll see you for the next episode of Tackroom Training Talks.